Hey everybody, RaspyGA coming to you from the new house. It's been a long time since I've had a video uploaded, so I wanted to go ahead and get one out. Figured I could do one on my custom mosin-nagant. Really wanted to get out and videotape some shooting of this gun for the video. It's not going to be in the cards. It's going to be a few weeks before I'm able to get out to the range, so figured we go ahead and introduce it to you and let you see what it is and what I've done to it. Let's check it out. Alright y'all, let's take a look here at the gun. I've put out my 1937 Tula round receiver back there to use as a point of reference. The gun has been modified a little bit. I've refinished the stock. I've also floated the barrel and embedded it under the bands, but externally it still looks pretty much original. Now this gun here started out with a 1928 Tula hex receiver gun and then went from there. Starting towards the front of the gun, I had the barrel cut and then an 11-degree crown put on it. That's the only work I didn't do on the gun myself. Moving back down the barrel, you can see here I've removed the stock rear sight. Mine was not silver soldered in place, so it came off quite easily. I just drifted the two pins out and knocked it off with a hammer. I then took a Dremel and some hand files and was able to match the radius to the barrel. If you've never seen one of these with the rear sight off, there's typically a big dovetail section here that the rear sight interfaces with. Now I do still have these two holes in the top of the barrel where the pins initially were. I didn't have any means of filling those, so I just went ahead and left them empty. And it looks a lot better in person than it does here on camera. Most people won't even realize them until I point them out. Now for optics, I'm using the Burris Full Field 2 3x9x40. It's a really good scope for the money. It's around $200, sometimes a little bit less. Pretty clear, pretty positive adjustments. Haven't had any zero issues with it at all. Doesn't fog up. Seems to be working pretty good. I've got over 200 rounds through this gun with this scope on there, and no issues to date. The scope is mounted in some Burris Signature Z rings here, or Z Signature rings. These rings are really nice. They have these plastic inserts that cradle the tube and give you more even pressure on the tube. Also, they have varying thicknesses that you can use to try to align your scope. This came in big handy because the action of the scope, the action of the rifle, the base, and everything like that is not in perfect alignment with the bore of the gun. Ordinarily, you'd have to take up all those adjustments here internally in the scope, and then you might end up having some light transmission problems and stuff like that. So I was able to use these rings and their inserts to kind of tweak the scope a little bit so that it was almost perfectly zeroed without even touching my internal adjustments at all. That helped out a lot. They're fairly expensive. They sell out pretty quick. It took me about a month and a half on a list with Optics Planet to get them in stock. And when they did, all they had was this blue finish. So if there's any one thing that I'm not overly happy with the gun about, it is the blue finish on these rings, but I can look past that. All this is mounted to this Rock Solid Industries base here. Really quality base, machined out of aluminum. Took just a little bit of fitting to get it to match up real good with the action itself. They say you can bed them with some kind of like a steel bed. I didn't use that. I just hand filed it to where it matched pretty close, and then when I torqued down the screws with Loctite, it's held great. Again, I've shot this gun quite extensively with this setup, and I've had no issues with wandering zero or anything. Also from Rock Solid Industries is this bent bolt handle here. Could have easily modified the factory one, but I just went ahead and got this from them. I've also running their aluminum pillars in the stock. and they work pretty good. And they're action screws. The regular action screws on this gun are like a flathead type, and they may very well have been original to this gun. They were pretty beat up, so I went ahead and got these screws here from Rock Solid, and they are like a hex key variety. They're just much more positive to lock the action down into place. The action is also glass bedded in the stock with acroglass gel, and I'm running a Timney trigger here, which is nice because it has this Remington 700 style safety, which is much more positive, much easier to use than the regular Mosin safety. So trigger breaks like glass, real nice trigger. I understand you can do some things to the trigger in the factory guns by using washers and things like that, but I just figured I was going all out. I might as well put a good trigger in the gun. Stock itself is from Boyd's. It's a walnut Prairie Hunter stock, and I finished in a Minwax dark walnut and used a satin polish spray to seal it. Worked out pretty good. And I got the sling. Not sure the manufacturer of the sling, but I picked it up at Bass Pro Shops here in town, and no complaints on that either. Overall, the gun has performed great. It should, as much as I've put into it. I took a $100 gun and turned it into a $100 gun that costs $900 plus. So it's kind of ridiculous, but I just wanted it as a project, and I wanted to teach myself some things about gunsmithing that I didn't know. I wasn't familiar with, using acroglass to bed stocks or any of that stuff, or really even inletting stocks to fit all these components. And this trigger requires a considerable amount of inletting, a lot more than just the safety here. So if you're thinking about putting one in your regular Mosin, hope you don't mind butchering your stock up, because it takes quite a bit of grinding to get it to clear. Overall, though, I'm happy with the project. The gun will hold under an inch before I start flinching off the bench using some surplus steel core corrosive ammo that I have. So I'm really pleased with that. And I've got some hand loads that a friend worked up for me that I'm going to use to hopefully take a deer with this year. But this is the gun as it sits, and I'm really pleased with the outcome of it. Here's the opposite side here. Again, you can see where the barrel is floated. And there's that Rock Solid Industries mount I was talking about. Really good mount. Probably the best one out there for a Mosin, if you don't mind drilling holes in your receiver. Again, the gun is it's just been a project of mine, and I've been I've learned a lot throughout this project, and I've really enjoyed working on it. So hope you guys enjoy it. Feel free to leave some comments, like or subscribe. I'd like to see what y'all think about the gun. Y'all be safe, be good, and have a good day.